I'm out here in the electronics shop because I've been working on some inventions related to guitar pedals and I needed to test out some ideas. I purchased a device called an analog discovery, which is, among other things, a signal generator. But I had some difficulty working with it. It had a very loose connector, and I found myself spending more time troubleshooting connections than actually troubleshooting circuits. One of the primary reasons I bought the Analog Discovery 3 was its ability to sweep the spectrum and do things like Bode plots. So I'll have to find another solution for that. In the meantime, I need a signal generator because if I'm designing, for example, a buffer circuit, which I am, I can't be sitting there strumming a guitar while I'm trying to check 6 other things on a circuit board. And so today I'm maybe not proud, but mildly accomplished enough to tell you that I have built a pedal. It's not really a pedal in the conventional sense, it's sort of in a pedal format, called the Couineur. And the Couineur is a thing that just squeaks a square wave in the audible range of human hearing so that you can plug it into a circuit and use it as a signal for testing out things that you want to see. Distortion and phasing and whatever. So the Couineur is nothing special, but what it allowed me to do was to exercise a whole bunch of skills that I've been acquiring in pieces with the idea of saying, can I build a decent guitar pedal at home? And how do I do that? The Couineur is not a compelling pedal. In fact, it'll fry your circuits if you use it wrong. It can be quite dangerous. It's not got a lot of controls on it. It's the simplest 555 oscillator circuit you could come up with. And although I could make some enhancements to it, there comes the point where it's just like I'm spending a lot of engineering on something that's the signal generator. It's not the actual processing device. And you got to move on. So slap it in a case and off you go. I did learn a huge amount though, so let me walk you through some parts of the build. So what is the Couineur? Well, here's a look at it in a 3D printed box. Stuff hanging out of it, left and right. I'll have to hook it up to the bench in a minute. It's not connected to anything right now, but you can see it's got one frequency knob, and that allows you to twirl between about 60 hertz and about 4 kilohertz. Having said that, it appears to be a non-linear taper, so all the play is up in the high frequency range. It's also a pretty bad potentiometer, so it's scratchy and it jumps around a lot in the middle. But I don't really care, because what I basically needed is to be a signal generator. There's also some very rudimentary switch ergonomics, like a foot switch to turn it on and off. This is a little piezo speaker, and there's a little momentary button at the top you can press, and it'll squeal. It's frequency squeal for you when you do that, which got me thinking it's like a little mousy squealer, and so that's why it's called the Couineur. Because in French, that means it's a squealer. And there you have it, my little Frankenstein object. I had initially planned to actually do a PC board fabrication of this to make sure that I could lay out components correctly, but I feel like it's probably should get on to the next circuit and do that with the next circuit because it's a lot more high value than this. This is fulfilling its purpose just by sitting there and going or whatever it happens to be doing at the time. All right, here's the Frankenstein view. We're going to show you. This is running at 60 hertz, 59 and change. I'll go ahead and show you the test. You hear that? Really low. And you can see that I don't have any protection, so actually as soon as I turn the buzzer on, the piezo capacitance kind of loads up that circuit and you get a deformation in the signal, which would become much more apparent as I sweep the frequency. But here you can see I can adjust frequency. So that's 282. And then if I just send it all the way up, we're at 3,500. And you can see that it's not super stable here. It's kind of rolling around in the 3.6 area, settled into 3.67. But in fact, it's really crappy. If you watch me sweep through, when I get into the upper, you notice this jittering. That is not the oscilloscope Might be a little bit, but it's the signal itself. It's the potentiometer is just not great. But you know what? I don't really care. The other thing is you notice I'm running just a little bit here. It's like 1.4, 1.5 volts peak to peak. That's because I'm running the power supply at 3 volts. And if I jack up the power supply, then I get the obvious increase in amplitude that comes along with it. But at some point, that's going to fry out your pedal chain if you try to use that signal. This is 5 volts now, and as you can see, I've got about a 2.5 volt swing. Should have had some voltage control for the output and a lot of stuff. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. But the reality is that I got a frequency generator that works. In case you're wondering, these are connected just directly to a power supply, and these are the scope leads. I just created a guitar jack that goes to leads so that I can attach it to the scope. So that's the Couineur, and it's totally mediocre. Anyway, on to the next one. Or should I open source this and make it available to anybody? If I did that, I'd have to build some more stuff into it. I don't know, I have options. What do you think the next pedal build for me ought to be?